Well, clearly Kevin Durant saw a rumor that he felt the need to address. Mark Stein reported that if Kevin Durant does not get his way, what is his way? Either the Brooklyn Nets trade him, as he has requested, or Sean Marks and head coach Steve Nash be fired in Brooklyn, then there's a possibility that Kevin Durant would exhaust a new measure, which would be sitting out, retiring from the game of basketball because he doesn't want to be a Brooklyn Net that bad. Well, KD thought this was worth addressing. He don't play about basketball. He tweeted out, "I know most people will believe unnamed sources over me, but if it's anyone out there that'll listen, I don't plan on retiring anytime soon." He said the shit is comical at this point. So here's the thing, right? Kevin Durant's got a pretty astute manager in Rich Kleiman from what I've read and seen of the brother, listened to the brother. I watched a couple interviews on him. He's got a pretty astute manager. I cannot believe that Rich is advising Kevin Durant to do some of the things that he's doing. This is dumb. Dumb. Right? Like, here, if Kevin Durant would opt to retire, then play basketball for the Brooklyn Nets, I would hate it because I love Kevin Durant on the court. But, that rumor being out there, it actually helped Kevin Durant. Like, KD's looking for leverage right now. He doesn't have a lot of leverage. Everything he's thrown against the wall, it's just not sticking. Right? He tried just the typical, I want to get traded. Despite having 4 years left on his deal, he stepped to Brooklyn Nets ownership, Joe Tsai and company, said, I want to get traded. Can y'all trade me? The Nets apparently did their due diligence. They couldn't find a trade for him. Then he took it to the next level. He said, if I were to come back to Brooklyn, I would need the coach and general manager fired after I just demanded a trade with 4 years left on my contract. So obviously the owner's going to side with the coach and GM. Obviously, I think the GM's done a pretty good job. I don't know about Steve Nash, the coach, but Sean Marks did a pretty darn good job putting together a roster that should be competitive out east. The Brooklyn Nets barely made the playoffs. That's not on him. That's on them. So KD demanding that they be fired when at least the general manager has seemingly done a good job, and if nothing else, the head coach Steve Nash always comes to KD's defense in his second season as head coach, that's going to rub the owner the wrong way. Like the coach and the GM ain't asking for a trade. They want to be in Brooklyn. Obviously, Kevin Durant knew what he was doing with that. He was clearly trying to force the Nets to really trade him. Like, he don't even want to be here for this coach, for this GM. The owner immediately took the side of the GM and the coach, saying they got his full backing, right? I'm summarizing. That didn't work. KD didn't get his trade after that. The Nets still don't think that there's an offer out there that makes sense for them to pull the trigger on a Durant trade. Okay, so the rumor gets out there by Mark Stein that Kevin Durant will retire. Now, again, Kevin Durant is a hooper's hooper. He loves the game. Anytime he hears that R word, you got to think this man has dealt with some serious injuries in his life, specifically the last one being he tore his Achilles. He loves the game of basketball. He don't like any talk of retirement because I believe KD's got a lot of game left in him. He immediately goes to social media to address this rumor. Here's the problem in that. There have been a lot of rumors that come out about Kevin Durant this offseason. The moment he demanded a trade, this became the summer of Kevin Durant. To come out of all rumors to address this one, like his phone's been in his hand. He's been on social media talking to fans all summer long. To come on social media, bruh, and address this one rumor. If there have been rumors out there that you wanted your coach fired, your general manager fired, you demanded a trade randomly, the Kyrie Irving, opting in, and then you immediately demand a trade out, and now you come out and address this one rumor, it looks bad for two reasons. It seemingly will give credence to any other rumor that's been out in the atmosphere about you this summer because you ain't addressed them. You addressed this one retirement rumor. Out of everything that's been said about you, the rumor that got to you the most was, they think I might retire if I don't get traded. All that does is add credence to every other rumor that's been out there. So now we officially know that not only does Kevin Durant want to get traded, he wants Sean Marks and Steve Nash fired. He ain't addressed that rumor. He ain't come out and say, Sean Marks is my guy, Steve Nash is my guy, that rumor ain't true. Shit is comical at this point. He didn't say that. He said it was comical that he retired. So clearly you can add some credence to those rumors about him wanting his general manager and his coach fired if he were to consider coming back to Brooklyn. He ain't addressed the rumors that he had the Phoenix Suns atop his wish list, the Miami Heat atop his wish list, the Boston Celtics had interest. He ain't addressed none of that. The only rumor he felt addressing was the retirement rumor. He ain't addressed that there's some friction between him and Kyrie Irving because he demanded a trade out the same week that Kyrie Irving opted into his extension. He didn't address that rumor. He didn't come stand up for his man. The only rumor that he addressed was the retirement rumor. So again, you're adding credence to these rumors. That's why it's best for athletes to not address anything at all. Or rappers or entertainers, just leave it all out there. Let people think what they want. Let people think what they want. That's the approach I think that's best suited for athletes. Easier said than done, but I think that's the best approach. So as we get to Kevin Durant addressing this rumor, the other piece to the puzzle is not only did he address the rumor, and now it gives credence to the other rumors that was out there in the atmosphere about him, he loses his leverage. The leverage that he might have, because that is something you got to think about. As quirky as KD's been throughout his career, the rumor of him retiring was like, okay, if Brooklyn's like, we want him to play. We want to put out a competitive product. Now, if it were me, if he retired, I'd call his bluff. I'd let him retire and then just start over again, because to me, Brooklyn's about to be in a rebuild, whether they know it or not. I don't know if Joe Tsai knows it. He's about to be in a rebuild. But if maybe he wants to put a competitive product on the court. That Barclays Center is not cheap. Maybe he wants to put a good product out on the court and wants to keep Kevin Durant's trade interest at an all-time high. If Kevin Durant says, I'm going to retire, that immediately gives him back some leverage, because you never know with KD. Even though we know he loves the game, you just never know with him. So I would have left that one out. That wouldn't be the rumor that I addressed. Just leave it out there. Let it hang. You don't got to address, unless you're a guy that address every rumor with your career, which KD doesn't do, let that one hang. That's the one you want out there, because it gives you a little leverage back. You're losing leverage because the Nets don't believe that they can find a trade that makes sense for them to pull off for Kevin Durant. The same summer with Rudy Gobert going for a haul from the Minnesota Timberwolves. So you don't have that much leverage right now. It's just very difficult to find anything close to equal value for a trade for Kevin Durant. He's that damn good. So leave the retirement rumors out there, because that is like a little thorn that maybe the Nets didn't think about. But KD decides to address that rumor and now pulls that leverage because now we know he will play basketball next year. He just said he would, which means if the Nets don't trade him, that means he'll be in Brooklyn. Just awful management, bro. Awful brand management every step of the way from somebody that is such a high IQ on the court, bruh. It's so frustrating to see this all-time great seemingly every step of the way struggle with controlling narratives around an all-time great career.